Hello and welcome to WomanVision TV. It's where women talk. I'm your host, Nadia Jordana. My guest today is Kate Pettit. She's coming in to tell us all about the Writers' Festival and Book Fair that takes place in Bloomington, Minnesota each year. Let's go find out what that's all about. Hi Kate, I'm so glad you could come by today and talk to me about the Writers' Festival and Book Fair put on by the Bloomington Theater and Art Center. Welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, Kate, you play a significant role in this event every year. But before we get started in that, I'd like to hear about something about you and what you do before you got involved with this. And then we'll get back to the Art Center and the Book Fair.
Well, 50 years ago or so, there was a big push towards science and math for women.
Mm-hmm.
And so my principal called me in and said, this is what you should do when you go to college. But I loved to read. So because I loved to read, I decided to be an English major. And thus my interest in books. But not only was I interested in reading, but I was also interested in music, dance, theater, anything that had anything to do with the arts. After many years of moving around with my husband, we moved to Bloomington, and I was at that point where I had to decide where was I going to focus. Mm-hmm. And my decision was to focus on the arts. And I became the director for the community relations director mm-hmm. for the Bloomington Fine Arts Council. And I did that for 11 years. Gave me an opportunity to work with all the arts organizations. Worked on the program to get the Bloomington Center for the Arts built. Oh. And with the Center for the Arts, it gave us an opportunity to expand beyond music and dance and theater to the literary arts. Mm-hmm. And that's where I became involved with the Writers' Festival.
Okay, and you have some other artistic endeavors on your own also called Artiscapes, is that what it's called?
Yes, after retiring from the Fine Arts Council, I was on the board of directors for the Bloomington Arts Center. Mm-hmm. And that organization merged with the Bloomington Theater and became the Bloomington Theater and Arts Center. After 20 years, I resigned from that position, and with the former director of the Bloomington Arts Center,
okay.
Yes, we decided that we would form this small company called Artiscapes. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we set up trips around Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, North Dakota, day trips, maybe 2 or 3 days, focusing on arts, cultural, and literary things in various areas of these states. So we have done trips to southeastern Minnesota, to mm-hmm. southwestern Minnesota. We have one planned coming up to the Stillwater area. Yeah. And then we have one in the fall planned to go up on the North Shore during their Crossing Borders art exhibits, art crawl that's along the lake shore. So we'll do Duluth and do some of the artists that are both from Canada and the United States that are doing the open studios.
You know what I like about that though is being here in Minnesota, it doesn't take 6 months to a year-long planning to be able to do one of these Artiscapes. I've always thought that about this. You could think about that and plan it a month or two ahead and you're ready to go off on a weekend and enjoy the state of Minnesota without flying off somewhere. So it's just kind of low stress and quick fun and enjoying our own state, which we never do when we live here.
Exactly. We're going to all those places that tourists come here mm-hmm. to go to, and we don't.
No.
So,
so we don't go unless we get company from out of state to show them what's here. Mm-hmm. This is a good way for us to go on our own, or even when we have company.
And what's nice about this is if you are a single person or you no longer want to drive, then we provide the transportation, and it just makes it a much easier, much lower stress kind of travel locally than it would be if you were trying to do it on your own.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back to the arts center and the writers fair. It's now in its 11th year. I'd love to hear about the early years. I think you said a little bit about it and how it all really got going. And it sounds like you've been there since the very beginning. Is that right?
Absolutely. What happened is a gentleman, an author from Bloomington, Jim Kepke, came into the Art Center office and sat down and talked with the executive director, Susan Anderson, and said to her, why don't we do a Bloomington Writers Festival? And I had been advocating for some literary programs anyhow, and I happened to be in the office that day, so she called me in and said, Jim has an idea. He thinks we should do a Bloomington Writers Festival. And I said, sounds good to me. And she said, will you take this on? I said, okay, having no idea what to do. But the first thing we decided, Jim and I decided, is we needed more than he and I to put this kind of thing together. So we put an ad in the newspaper saying we're starting this literary council, and if there's anyone interested in participating, contact us. We'll have an information meeting. People came. We were amazed that the number of people that came. We had probably about 7 or 8 people that came. And together we planned how this would look. Initially we were just going to do Bloomington authors. So we put out a call to the few authors that we knew and put something in the local newspaper, and we got 20 authors responding. So our very first Writers Festival had 20 authors. No workshops, nothing else. We just had a day for an afternoon where these people came with their books and the public came and talked to the authors. Well, because we were limiting it to Bloomington, we had to turn a lot of people away who had heard about it. And I really can't tell you how they heard about it. It was like this crazy thing that happened.
There was a need for it.
There was a need for it. So we decided to expand the program and let it be open to other organizations. So our second year, we probably doubled the number of authors that we had. They were starting to come from all over the state. And I think by the third year we decided, then people started asking us, well, how do you get published? How do you get published? So we said, well, maybe we need to answer that question. So then we found some people who would speak and do some workshops on how to get published. We did panels, we did 1 or 2 workshops. The demand just kept growing, and as the demand kept growing, we just kept getting bigger and adding more things, so that at this point we will have about just under 99, just under 100 exhibitors in the 2014.
Oh, how exciting.
So it's very exciting.
How exciting. Well, now each year you bring in, now for the last several years, keynote speakers and leading experts. Can you mention a few that you've had in the last few years and clue us in a little bit on who you're going to have this year?
All right. Well, last year we had Tom Haig, and he wrote a Christmas Cup of Tea. He sold 3 million copies of his book. We thought he was a perfect match for what we were trying to do, because he did a non-traditional way of getting published. We've had people like William Ken Kruger, Faith Sullivan, Lorna Landvik, all people who are well known as authors from the state of Minnesota. This year we have Nancy Carlson. Nancy Carlson is a children's author and illustrator. She illustrates all of her own books. And she has 60, somewhere between 60 and 70 books that she has written. She has won numerous awards. She is well known not only as an author but also as an artist. She has taught at the Art Institute. She has taught art classes and the art and writing classes all over the state and all over the United States. She gets asked to come in and present and do workshops all over. So we're thrilled to have Nancy Carlson come. And not only is she doing our keynote for us, and she's got a really interesting and non-traditional, again, non-traditional way of becoming a published author. So she's a delightful speaker, but she's also doing a master class where she will, a 3 Saturday class where she will work with people who are interested in doing children's picture books, teaching them all of the ins and outs of how to do that. So, and as well as she's also doing a workshop at the Writers Festival.
Yeah, the workshops have become very popular. What are some of the ones that are the most popular? Is it about self-publishing or publishing in general? What are some of the most popular workshops?
You know, every year differs.
Okay.
And but some of the more popular ones are how to get published.
Yeah.
It seems, from the research I've done, it looks like the numbers are anywhere from 80 to 90% of us think we have a book we want to write. And so people want to know, how do I do this? Or they've already written the book and then they don't know what to do. So we always have workshops on how to get published, you know, the different routes that you can take, and there are multiple ways of going about doing this. So that's always a very popular class. Another really popular thing, class that we offer is on marketing and selling your books, because even the big publishing houses no longer do much of that for you. It's so you need to set up your own speaking engagements, your own book signings, your own web presence, all of that kind of thing. And so we try to offer classes on how to market your books, how to market yourself, how to develop web pages, how to get all of those kinds of things that help you be successful as a writing author or as a published author. The other area, we keep getting requests for from people who want to know how to get started.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Give us the basics. How do we get started?
Is that in writing the book?
That is in writing the book.
Okay.
So we try to offer classes like that every year. Memoir writing is very, very popular because so many of us have stories that we want our children or our...
Especially the baby boomer generation.
Absolutely. Yeah. We all have our stories that we want to tell. So those are very popular. This year we're offering a whole track along with, because of Nancy Carlson being our keynote, we have 4 classes on writing for children and the different ages of children. So we'll start with the picture books, the middle grades, and then young adult books as well. So we are offering that because that has been a request.
Yeah.
We get a lot of children's authors, and then a lot of people say, well, why don't you do something about children's writing?
Well, it's been getting more and more popular each year, and I've been there the last several years, sometimes as an exhibitor, as an author, other times as a participant and a guest. This year I'm going to attend a couple of classes and have my books there as an author, so I'll be busy there this year.
Oh, you will be. Yes, you will.
Well, before we go, is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to be sure to let the viewers know? Now, this goes on every year, so let us know also what the date is for this year, 2014.
This year, it is March 20.
Is it 22nd?
22nd.
22nd, yeah.
March 22nd, all of a sudden I had a, last year it was a different day. Okay,
Yes.
it's March 22nd at the Bloomington Center for the Arts. It runs from 9:30 to 5 o'clock. We have 22 workshops that we are offering. We have the book fair is free, as I said earlier. They're a 90, well, it's 99 exactly.
99 authors? Okay.
Authors and vendors. And the authors and vendors are there not only to offer you their books, but they're there also to offer you their expertise
Yeah.
and how they managed to get
They
their
love
love
talking to the visitors.
Right, and so, but not only is the book fair free, but then we also have a slate of authors who will be doing readings. And those are open for people to
Yes.
come in and listen to these authors do readings from their books. And so that's kind of a fun thing. For the workshops, if you're interested in what our slate of workshops are this year, you can go to the Bloomington Theater and Arts Center's website, which is btacmn.org, and click on the Writers Festival under upcoming events, and it will give you a whole list of what this, not only of what this year's program is, but also who will be exhibiting are also listed there with their website. So if you're interested, you can check it out and check out their work.
Great. Kate, thank you so much for being here today.
It was a delight.
It was a pleasure for me.